is this? Tabletop Island, huh? Let's see what this is all about.
Volker, baby, so happy you could join us at the Las Vegas Royale Casino. It seems I only have one die left, but you've made lucky rolls, and it seems you're going to get both $100,000. Do you wish to continue our wager? You have opportunity to win the entire island. But is it worth it? Will you take chance? You've been winning all of our games lately. I think you will do well. Let's see how well I do. Interesting, it looks like I can't take the 2 from you, so you do win the 100,000. And it seems total you've won $200,000. You've won the most monies. But what you didn't think of was that you put all eggs in one basket. And in fact, if you add the total of the monies that I'm going to win, because I win everything else, including the lowest value in your piles, I'm totaling at $340,000. So, it's quite unfortunate you're going to have to lose like this, but I will be collecting what's mine. It's unfortunate you had to lose all of your fireballs. Maybe now you've learned your lesson. Maybe now you've learned.
Welcome to Tabletop Island. I'm Bernardo, your host, and today we're going to be talking about the board game Las Vegas Royale by Alea Games. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. This game is actually kind of a reprint of an older game. Sorry, words are hard. And this one looks a lot better production value wise. Now you can play the original way of the game, which is the way I actually prefer, but there's a lot of added elements that make this game great. First, let's talk about the board itself. It looks amazing on the table. All of the elements and pieces fit really well together, and it really creates that Las Vegas theme. Now, the dice itself, while I understand a lot of individuals not a big fan of dice due to the luck element and you really not having control of certain things, but I feel like the dice itself, you still get to make really well thought out decisions in deciding which ones have the most money. So you have the board on the table, the dice tray in the middle, and you kind of have your little pieces there, the 1 to 6 for each die symbol. Now there's money randomly placed across 2 pieces of money. Now the winner who has the most dice of that number in that area gets to get the first piece of money, or the most, and then the second player in line gets the next one. The third player gets absolutely nothing, which is where the decision making will really shine here. Now let's first talk about the dice itself. It is much like a Yahtzee idea, but it's also a permanent decision. Let's talk a little bit about that. So you take your dice, you roll them into the dice tray, and while you're doing so, you get to choose what number you want to put where. Now you only get to choose one number each roll. Now with that number itself, if you have, let's say, 4 6s, then you must remove all 4 6s. But if you have, let's say, 1 2, you only use 1 2 or 3 3s, whatever it ends up being. So making that decision ahead of time is very important. Even though there's a lot of money riding on a certain number that you pull out, if you use too many dice ahead of time, you may lose out on getting a majority of money. Hence why holding it till the end can be rather crucial, because if everyone used up all their dice, and let's say the number 1 slot has absolutely nothing on it, using that to roll a 1 and just putting it there means you win by default, and you get the most amount of money at that spot. So that really extends the amount of money you get, because you do it in the round of, or the 3 rounds, and the person who has the most money wins.
Volker, people are here to subscribe, but you may be scaring them away. Don't embarrass me like that. I'm sorry, people. It won't happen again.
One other thing to talk about is the big die. The big die itself counts as 2 dice. So when you're counting your points up to see who gets what, the person with the most dice on that number wins it. Now the big die breaks tiebreakers, so it does count as 2. So let's say you have a big die and a little die, and your opponent has 3 little dice. Because you had the big die, you win the most money in that. And as for regular ties, if you do end up having an actual tie, then neither of you win. Ties break themselves and no one gets it, which is very unfortunate and kind of sucks, and it's kind of funny when the person comes in at the last second with just one die and you guys tied for a larger amount and they just get it by default, which is so hilarious and happens quite a bit. I absolutely love that. Now with this game itself, once you get to round 2 and 3, you have 2 chips. The 2 chips allow you to give up one of the chips to remove your dice and not have to place one down, because once you roll those dice once, you're forced to use one of those numbers. So if you get down to the end where you don't want to waste your die on a certain number, then you can pay a chip to get it back. But by paying a chip, you also do lose out on getting money at the end of the game. There are also a lot of cool elements with the newer version that add these extra tiles on 1, 2, or 3 that can really add more diversity and range with your die decision making and what you end up placing where. But I will let you look at the rule book to understand all of those, because there's quite a few of them and there's so much added to the game that there's replayability factor is so high, and with just the base mechanic of the game, or the kind of the original way to play the game, there's so much with that alone, and I very much prefer that option. I have yet to really add too many of the extended board game pieces, but I do think they add a lot for the game, but I haven't gotten to the table enough to really kind of play with all of them, so reviewing them just isn't really something I want to do, and honestly, those are all depending on you. I think the base game itself speaks for itself. The board looks amazing on the table, and this is a fantastic classic addition to add to your game. I highly recommend it, but I will say the price point is a little bit high. If you can find a good deal, I highly recommend it. I will have a link in the description where to get it with your Amazon Prime needs if it does seem like a game for you. Now, while I do highly recommend it, it is easy to teach, fun for the whole family, looks amazing on the table, and that's honestly all I have to say about it. If you are interested in notifications for my new videos, there is a bell up there somewhere. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I do appreciate any feedback. I'm trying to make these videos more and more outrageous, and with your guys' help, I have been doing so. Monday, regular board game reviews. Wednesday, weekly updates / talks, and then on Fridays, my vintage board game reviews. That is all I have for you guys today. I will see you guys next time.